Hello there, Monday starters, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing good. So I have decided that Sundays will be our chit-chat days where we have longer conversations about more nuanced topics that don't really fit into 6 to 10 minute videos. So today's video, we're going to be talking about, or answering the question rather, whether Meghan Markle can be the next Michelle Obama. And you clicked this video because you probably saw that title. It is a big question that leads us into the main topic of our video, which is toxic feminism. And the reason I felt to juxtapose Michelle Obama and Meghan Markle is because of 1, reports of Meghan's political ambitions, 2, reports of how much Meghan wanted to be close to Michelle Obama, and 3, these are both Black women who were put into positions of power that shot them into instantaneous fame. It's a very packed video today. We're going to be talking about a detail in the South Park episode, looking at Meghan's definition of feminism. We'll take a little trip to the Victorian era and come back to explain what toxic feminism is. Then we're going to look at how feminism or toxic feminism is displayed through the lens of Michelle and Meghan. And I'll finally, at the very end, I will answer the question on whether Meghan can be the next Michelle Obama. And we'll be done. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Monday Start Club. We're helping you with all the tools that you need to succeed in life. Subscribe now and join the club. I'm not sure how many of you noticed that the South Park episode called out Meghan Markle for being a First Lady botherer. Yep. On the wife's profile, where she was listed as sorority girl, actress, influencer, and victim, there were more descriptors for Meghan Markle in a smaller font on the right side of the frame. So if you look closely, you will see it right there. First Lady botherer. So the producers of South Park even picked up on this about Meghan, and they really left no stone unturned with this episode. In a chapter of Revenge, a book by Tom Bauer, he gives an assessment of Meghan's struggles with life in the royal spotlight following her marriage to Prince Harry in May 2018. And Tom Bauer says, or he's claimed, that the Duchess sought out friendship with former First Lady Michelle Obama and hoped to form a connection while the global figure was in London promoting her memoir. So Tom Bauer goes on to write that Meghan spotted an opportunity after Michelle Obama arrived in London to promote her best-selling autobiography. And it goes on to say that Meghan secured tickets to see Michelle Obama give a speech in the Royal Festival Hall in 2018. Afterwards, Meghan went backstage to meet Michelle Obama and also arranged that they'd meet for dinner. Bauer then claims that Michelle Obama was somewhat taken aback by the Duchess's forthright attitude and underestimation of the high level of respect that Michelle, had for the Queen. And Michelle has praised the Queen on a number of occasions since leaving the White House. According to Tom Bauer, Meghan Markle appears to not have appreciated how much the Obamas admired the Queen. And Meghan's attitude alarmed Michelle. And so Michelle's advice to Meghan was delivered in public. In an interview, Michelle Obama said of Meghan, "Take some time and don't be in a hurry to do anything." In a warning note, Michelle Obama added, "Like me, Meghan probably never dreamt she would have a life like this. The pressure you feel can sometimes feel like a lot." Obama suggested that Meghan should be reasonable. What I'd say is that there's so much opportunity to do good with a platform like that. And I think Meghan can maximize her impact for others as well as her own happiness if she's doing something that resonates with her personally. I wholeheartedly agree with Michelle Obama on this. When Meghan came on the scene, I was hoping that the newfound fame and opportunity that she had will be put to good use. I really thought that she was in a position to affect positive change. So now in 2019, during her official tour of South Africa with Harry, Meghan met with leaders of the Obama Foundation at the British High Commissioner's residence. A photograph of the Duchess posing with the group was posted to Instagram by Obama with a glowing caption calling Meghan a friend and inspiration. It read, "Thank you to my friend, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex, a thoughtful leader who is breaking the mold and making our world better for it. Whether meeting with our Obama Foundation leaders or helping girls around the world seek the education they deserve, she is an inspiration to so many. So, this Instagram post was in 2019, before the Oprah interview and before the Netflix series. Even though Michelle Obama had her initial impressions of Meghan, I think that she ultimately wanted Meghan to stand for something because she, Michelle, had a lot more experience at the time being in the public service space. So I see this might have been the sister girl moment of Michelle Obama wanting to put Meghan on. Attach yourself to my foundation. Let me publicly give you a vote of confidence. Let's work together so we can have people look at you in a particular light. After Meghan and Harry gave their landmark March 2021 interview to Oprah Winfrey, in which they discussed their treatment by the press before stepping down as full-time working royals the year before, as well as racism faced by Meghan as a biracial member of the family, Obama was repeatedly asked her opinion on the situation. So we're now moving from Michelle Obama, who publicly told Meghan Markle to take her time and publicly associating herself with Meghan Markle, to the post-Oprah interview. And this is what Michelle Obama has to say now. So she did respond in an interview with NBC, and her comments focused on the role of public servants and her hope that the royal family will find a way to learn from their different experiences. Michelle Obama was interviewed by Jenna Bush Hagar, and what Michelle said in that interview was that public service is a bright, sharp, hot spotlight, and most people don't understand it, nor should they. The thing that I always keep in mind, this is Michelle Obama, the thing that I always keep in mind is that none of this is about us. In public service, it's about the people that we serve. I always try to push the light back out and focus it on the folks that we're actually here to serve. She then went on to add that the thing that I hope for and the thing that I think about is that this first and foremost is a family. And I pray for forgiveness and healing for them so they can use this as a teachable moment for us all. It's very clear that Michelle Obama is not a big fan of Meghan Markle, but she does give her responses in a very diplomatic way. So what I see here is that Michelle Obama's tune has been consistent from the start, which is, this is not about us. It's about the people we serve. We've just seen it transition from, hey girl, I try to show you to go this way, but you went that way. So now I'm out. Do you, girl? I don't want any part of this. We've just seen a transition, but the heart of it stayed pretty consistent. So from what we can gather from interviews and by Meghan Markle's own admission, is that she, Meghan Markle, always wanted female empowerment to be her thing. In her mind, she looks at herself as an activist for women. Because of that, she has tried to latch herself onto other women that have respect in that area. The unfortunate thing is that it appears that Meghan is looking at the world of activism like it's a Hollywood career. And this is not just in terms of the glitz and glam of Hollywood, but in the way where Hollywood is about who you know and who can put you on. You can get a role because you had dinner with a producer, or a friend introduces you to a director, or your husband maybe makes a pitch for you to a Disney executive at a red carpet event. But activism isn't like that. Activism is a lifestyle. It is a real desire to affect change in a particular area, whether people are watching or not. It's got nothing to do with paparazzi. But in Hollywood, people raise their public profiles by simply getting a paparazzi shot with an A-list celebrity or by name dropping. And it seems that Meghan tries to use that same approach for activism, except that in the space of activism, you only garner respect by working and sticking your necks out for others. And so now we cue in the clever coffee ad. So 2 days before reports of Meghan and Harry being evicted from Frogmore Cottage came out, a coffee company puts out a reel that was basically an ad for Meghan Markle. It highlighted that Meghan, who is all about female empowerment, invested into their company. And the ad claimed that Meghan saved their company because she gave samples of their products to Oprah Winfrey. So this was right around December 2021. So Oprah and Meghan were still on, somewhat good terms. So Oprah then goes and shares the product on her Instagram. Boom! The product exploded, became a hit, and the company grew. They had a lot of sales. Now, even with this clever ad, this clever company, you see this whole theme of Meghan wanting to be an activist by association, because Meghan didn't single-handedly save the company. It was her association with Oprah, and Oprah posting the product that brought in the sales. As a business partner of this company, this coffee product is nowhere to be found on Archwell's website. But today, Meghan is using that to get the credit for the work that Oprah did so that she can have the look of female empowerment leader. So it's this whole thing about by association, I get to have the credit. In order to be an activist for female empowerment, I guess one might have to be a true and bona fide feminist. So that's why Meghan now is a self-proclaimed feminist for female empowerment. And since she didn't have a footprint in that arena, the only way she thought of to prove to people on a global scale that she's Miss Feminist is the podcast Archetypes. Archetypes? Which, by the way, I thought Archetypes was the worst move that they could possibly make from a branding perspective. Because at the time, they were at the height of their fame and the public had keen curiosity about them. Unfortunately, they translated the keen curiosity as love and thought that that was an opportunity or time to bash the royal family because everybody loves us. Yay us, yay us. Yeah, so they were at such a delicate transition point where they needed to turn interest into fandom. And at the time, what they had was their love story. And I believe that they would have turned a lot of people over into their camp if their Spotify podcast was about their love. I did a video about this, about business validation. The title of it would be They Failed at This, like when they got removed from the Commonwealth's website. But this is the whole point of business validation. Because the Spotify podcast could have just capitalized on their love story, turned the public curiosity or interest into real fandom. Like episode 1, how did we meet? Episode 2, the first date. Episode 3, the wedding. Episode 4, the reception. Episode 5, the babies. Episode 6, where do we go from here? You know, lighthearted, romanticized conversations. We get to experience their chemistry, no victimhood, just plain old banter, like how Americans pronounce stuff versus how Brits pronounce stuff. That would have sold their brand, quote unquote, their brand or their story to a lot more people. And I highly, highly, highly suspect that that's what Spotify signed up for because in the first teaser of their podcast, it was both of their voices.
Should we start? No? Ladies first?
No, say it, because I think it sounds really nice with your accent.
What, Archwell Audio?
Yeah.
Archwell Audio.
I mean,
Really?
shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. Hi guys, I'm Harry.
And I'm Meghan.
And I know that most of the information about their love life and their love story was in Harry's book, but celebrities sell us the same stories over and over again. And if we love them, we buy into it. Like, how many times do you watch your favorite YouTube couples do the same thing every video? Exactly. So if they had just leveraged on the keen interest people had, sold their love story, and after that, they attached themselves to an actual cause, one main thing that they are about, and be very intentional about putting their efforts in that direction, so that when you think about Meghan and Harry, you think that thing. I think that would have really helped for their brand or whatever it is that they're doing. And I honestly thought that their Netflix series would have had one episode at least that shows what Archwell is all about, the work they're doing, how it runs, etc., etc. But in Meghan's attempt to be this activist, she decides to go for this big theme podcast, which I honestly feel was out of her lane. She didn't have a footprint in the female empowerment space. The podcast she tried to produce was a podcast for like a Michelle Obama or an Indra Nooyi. Yes, an Indra Nooyi. Indra Nooyi shattered glass ceilings for women in the corporate space as the CEO of Pepsi for 12 consecutive years. Now, if Indra Nooyi wanted to talk to me about stereotypes or archetypes of women, sign me up. Like, ma'am, how much do you want? You want $3 per episode? $7.99? Like, how much do you want? Take all my money. Just take it all, take it all, take it all. All right, let's get into Meghan Markle's understanding of feminist.
Meghan, I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to the very conservative part of business that's still very much alive and how you manage feminism and being feminine?
Oh, this one is so interesting. That's a great question. Thank you. And it's not about Mike Ross. You know, I just think they are not mutually exclusive. For those of you who didn't hear, she was asking about how you balance being a feminist and being feminine. And I had written an article for the Irish Independent, which is a big newspaper in Ireland, about that exact thing, because I've been really fortunate enough to just meet with a lot of really powerful and incredible women. I was speaking at One Young World in Ottawa a couple weeks ago, and I was there with Mary Robinson, who was the former president of Ireland. And my favorite is these moments, like between her, and I had seen Angela Merkel as well before, and before these events, either at the UN or whatever else, and you see these powerhouse women going like, where's my compact? I need to put on my lipstick. Is my lipstick okay? And it's one of those things where it's like, yes, because of course, you can still be a woman who wants to look beautiful and present well, and it doesn't lessen the fact that you are standing up for something that is incredibly important.
The first thing we notice here is the name dropping. Because of her desire to be credited by association, if you've been around these people, then surely you must be as important. So it's always dropping the names, dropping the names, dropping the names. The second thing we notice here is also the expression on her face when she's asked the question. It's this look of like, oh, sit back and let me school you because this is my turf. This is my area. Thank you very much. I thought that was interesting. But now on to her response. The question she was asked was balancing between a feminist and feminism. I am disappointed in her reducing femininity to powder and lip gloss. With her explanation, feminist equals standing up for what you believe in. Femininity equals looking good. I disagree. Femininity is the essence of feminist. We are feminists because we are feminine. You never hear people attribute masculinity to a haircut or shoes. It's about the aura of manhood. So feminism simply says, because I am, I can be. Don't exploit me because I am. Don't belittle me because I am. Don't oppress me because I am. Rather, recognize that who I am, being woman, being feminine, gives me permission to be all I want to be. The feminist movement became popular in the 1960s. But get this, it goes all the way back to the Victorian era, where women wanted to be free to pursue what they wanted to. The Victorian era was peak classism. Lower class women had jobs, but middle class to upper class women wouldn't be caught dead working for fear of judgment. A middle to upper class woman working was a sign that their husband was not able to take care of them or provide for them. They wanted to fight that judgment. They wanted to work free of judgment. The whole idea was it was their choice if they wanted to work. It should not be tied to public perception or scrutiny or what a man is or isn't doing. This first feminist movement focused on equality in education, work, and having electoral rights, like the right to vote. However, Queen Victoria did not support the feminist movement, despite being a powerful monarch in her own right. She called feminism a wicked folly, suggesting that God created women and men differently. So let them remain each in their own position. This movement did not make significant legal gains for women. A little while into this video, we'll be talking a bit more about the different way God created men and women. So now fast forward to 1960s, where we see the women's rights movement, also called women's liberation movement, largely based in the United States. In the 1960s and 70s, this movement sought equal rights and opportunities and greater personal freedom for women. It coincided with and is recognized as part of the second wave of feminism. In the aftermath of World War II, the lives of women in developed countries changed dramatically. Household technology eased the burdens of homemaking, life expectancies increased dramatically, and the growth of service sector opened up thousands of jobs that were not dependent on physical strength. So despite these socioeconomic transformations, cultural attitudes, especially concerning women's work, and legal precedents still reinforced sexual inequalities. A French writer and philosopher by the name Simone de Beauvoir published a worldwide bestseller called The Second Sex that raised feminist consciousness by stressing that liberation for women was liberation for men too. In other words, we can coexist in the same space equally. And in a short period of time, this movement was able to accomplish a lot. Women gained access to jobs in every corner of the U.S. economy, and employers with long histories of discrimination were required to provide timetables for increasing the number of women in their workforces. Divorce laws were liberalized. Employers were barred from firing pregnant women, and women's studies programs were created in colleges and universities. Record numbers of women ran for and started winning political office. In 1972, Congress passed Title IX of the Higher Education Act, which prohibited discrimination on the basis of sex in any educational program receiving federal funds, and thereby forced all male schools to open their doors to women and athletic programs to sponsor and finance female sports teams. My goodness, like I just want to clap. Like wherever we are, let's just take a moment and pause for all of the women that were part of this movement that made it possible for us right now today to be able to go to school, to hold certain positions, to have certain jobs. That made it possible for us to play sports. That made it possible for us to not get fired from work for being pregnant. Like, hats off to you. Thank you so much for all the work that you did. Thank you for your service. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. This is what the feminist movement was about, fighting for equal rights and for women to have a choice. Interestingly, today, we're seeing judgment being displayed among women in a different way, where women who decided to stay home to manage their home or take care of their children are judged and looked down upon. Some even say that these women who have decided to be home managers and take care of their children, some say that these women are setting women back. And then the women who make the decision to pursue their careers over having a family are also judged. We have somehow created an image in our minds that the ultimate woman is a woman that can have a family and juggle a career at the same time. That is woman. That is ultimate. We have created this image that might be impossible to attain for some. And the beautiful thing about the feminist movement was to give us equal rights and to give us the right to choose. It's a right of choice. As women, we can choose. We don't have to be confined to strict cultural norms or societal pressures. We can choose. We don't have to limit ourselves to one career type. We can choose. And in some ways, we are setting ourselves back today by judging the choices that other women make. A choice that they have today because of the work that was done by the women's movement. You can be a woman who decides to stay home and take care of your children, and that is powerful and that is beautiful. You can be a career woman that's just, you just want to go so far high up the ladder. That is beautiful, that is powerful. You can be a woman that juggles both. That is beautiful, that is powerful. All shades of womanhood. It is beautiful and it is powerful. So what is toxic feminism? Toxic feminism is found right in the center of Meghan Markle's definition. The cross between looking good, powder, lipstick, and being strong. What do I mean by that? Before the women's movement and women having rights, the only way a woman could maybe get heard or get her way or subdue a man was through her looks or her charm. That was the only strength that we thought we had or we thought we possessed because that's what patriarchy made us feel like. So because most women weren't considered smart enough or were not thought to be in a position to add value, this patriarchy system created the woman versus woman dynamic because women had to fight each other for the most eligible bachelor. And the way that plays out today is I'm going to use my good looks and charm to get my way in. And then when I get my way in, my skewed idea of feminism takes over because I'm strong and I'm bold and you can't tell me what to do. I will not be listening to you. I will not be hearing your point of view because I am woman. And some examples of that are talking over other people and belittling others, especially fellow women. Passive-aggressive behavior can include patronizing behavior, fake niceties, and smiley faces after a harsh text. Sabotaging behavior like lying for their benefit, offering misleading advice, manipulating situations, and mocking others for their decisions. Resentment, jealousy, bitterness towards others, especially fellow women, for their popularity, looks, and achievements, and then negative competitiveness with other women through dominance or sexuality. And I think that we can recognize some of these traits in the reports that we have heard about Meghan Markle. Another trait of toxic feminism is extremism. The idea that since I'm a feminist, give me, but I'm not giving back or taking any kind of responsibility. Toxic feminism makes it hard to credit others because it seeks to put the glory on the individual. Toxic feminism is also emasculating. It pretty much says that in order for me to come into myself, you have to be subdued. I only rise when you go lower. Throughout Megxit, one thing I have noticed is that it is very hard for Meghan to give credit to Harry and his family for her new status in life. Meghan's goal was to be famous, but she's treating it like she came into fame on her own merit, in her own right, and it's not because of her husband's family, and that's toxic. A true feminist is comfortable in her own skin, to know her power and acknowledge who gave her a helping hand.
People should expect the real me in this, and probably the me that they've never gotten to know. Certainly not in the past few years, where everything is through the lens of the media, as opposed to, hey, it's me.
Remind me again, how do we know Meghan? Harry and the royal family. Men and women are created differently. We have different strengths that play very well together when there's acknowledgement and understanding of what we each have to offer. So we've got Meghan Markle on the right, Michelle Obama on the left. They're both shot into fame instantaneously for public service. The reason I put them both side by side in this way is because Meghan admitted in her engagement interview that she and Harry's love of public service is what got them date 2.
That's what got date 2 in the books,
That's true.
probably.
Plenty to talk about.
And she's ready to go around the Commonwealth.
And also being able to go around to the Commonwealth, I think it's just the beginning of.
And Harry co-signed it, saying, there's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
It's like they sat at the dining table before marriage, plotting the worldwide Commonwealth tour, privacy tour.
Both of us have passions for wanting to make change for good, and with lots of young people running around the Commonwealth, that's where we're going to spend most of our time, hopefully.
And it was really one of the first things we connected on. It was one of the first things we started talking about when we met, was just the different things that we wanted to do in the world and how passionate we were about seeing change, I think.
So I don't really come at her marriage from an I fell in love marriage perspective, even though they likely do love each other. I come at it from an I wanted to be a professional public servant, so I married the topmost person who can give me that perspective.
Beginning few months and now being boots on the ground in the UK, I'm excited to just really get to know more about the different communities here, smaller organizations who are working on the same causes that I've always been passionate about under this umbrella.
I know the fact that she'll be really unbelievably good at the job part of it as well. Is obviously a huge relief to me, because she'll be able to deal with everything else that comes with it.
It's like Catherine. She didn't come into the royal family with ambitions for public service. She just fell in love with a man and wanted to have a family. It just so happens that the man she fell in love with was the future king of England. So she took her time to grow into the role of an ambassador, because that's not what she came for. And the thing is, there really is no rush, because in their royal role, you never retire, really. You're born a high-level public servant and you die a high-level public servant. Even if you start your royal duties at 40, you still have a healthy 40 to 50-year career. That's like someone starting their career at 25. They retire at 65, that's still 40 years. So there's really no rush, just like William said of Catherine.
William's mother was this massive, iconic figure, the most famous figure of our age. Is that worrying? Is that intimidating? Do you think about that a lot, both of you?
There's no pressure though, because like Kate said, it's about carving your own future. No one's going to try and, no one's trying to fill my mother's shoes, and what she did is fantastic. It's about making your own future and your own destiny, and Kate will do a very good job of that.
And it's the same advice Michelle Obama gave Meghan Markle. There's no rush. Don't rush. So Meghan Markle and Michelle Obama rising to instant fame for public service. The difference is Michelle Obama and her husband worked from the ground up, side by side, to get to that position. Meghan married a man to get that position and was not able to cradle it because she didn't work for it from the ground up. And in the same token, it is also very hard for her to admit that she's in that position because of her husband and her husband's family. I remember actually watching an interview of Melania Trump, and the interviewer asked her a question that I thought was kind of rude, honestly. And the question was how Melania felt about people saying that she only married Donald for his money. And Melania responded back saying, well, would he have married me if I wasn't beautiful? I was like, oh, okay, Mrs. Trump, come through with your self-awareness. And that's just the thing, like, own who you are. I respect people that just know who they are. They have that self-awareness. Who they are does not take away from who you are. This is me. This is my life. I wear it and I wear it proudly. Back to Michelle and Meghan. So where we see the synergy of male strength and female strength with the Obamas is when they moved into the White House. Michelle's priority was her family and her children, and she has said that a lot in interviews, in her books. She says that all the time. That was her priority when they first moved to the White House. This was a top-level lawyer who made the decision to make sure that her children were grounded. So it's this whole thing about choice. She can be a lawyer today and a stay-at-home mom tomorrow, and it's okay. It's fine. And I mean, the White House is a nice house to be a stay-at-home mom for, with all the security and whatnot and all the perks. But, you guys get my drift. You get my drift. So we saw Barack Obama in his presidential role. Michelle wasn't trying to outdo him, but she complimented him. When we saw them together, their unity was powerful. Even if you don't support them politically, you could see two strong people that knew how to balance their strengths. Years later, after they've left the White House, Michelle Obama's strengths are front-facing as a public persona, and Barack Obama's strengths are in the background, managing and leading the Obama Foundation. I feel like Michelle Obama's charisma works better for mainstream media than Barack's. That's just my that's just my personal opinion, just from watching interviews post-presidency. So yeah, we're seeing this dance of knowing when to play your strengths. Barack's strengths work for the White House. Michelle's strengths work for mainstream media. They're comfortable enough to let each other shine, And then some days, the man's strengths are forward-facing. Other days, the women's strengths are forward-facing. But when both of our strengths, being man and woman, male and female, when both our strengths are forward-facing, side by side, you cannot mess with us at that point, because together we are powerful. Society needs to get to that point of recognizing that certain things require women to take the lead, other things require men to take the lead. And in some instances, we both have to take the lead using our unique strengths. The human race will be so grand. There's nothing that we will not be able to achieve because we've come to this understanding. As I say this, I'm even reminded of Catherine and the synergy that she and William have. Just because William goes in front of her to give the first handshake does not make her any less of a woman. Whereas we have Meghan, who came on the royal scene, and she so badly wanted to prove some point. I'm not sure what point they were trying to prove, but she wanted to prove it, or she wanted to fight protocol. It's like, fight the patriarchy. I must give the first handshake. Fight the patriarchy. I must say hello first. Fight the patriarchy. I'm going to give the speech, even though this event is for Harry. I'm really not sure where we were going with that. And if that was her way of displaying her activism for female empowerment, I'm not sure that message really came across. When we look at it from the lens of the royal family, we might be tempted to say that they are so dated, but the reality is that's just the protocol of their job. If we take it out of that space and bring it into other societies, could you imagine a press conference at the White House? The press is waiting for Barack Obama. Then out comes Michelle Obama. She walks in with a sheepish smile and calmly shoves Barack out of the way just to grab the microphone to give Barack's speech or answer questions for Barack. Exactly. And I think that yes, the royal family is a family, but they also have state jobs. They are statesmen. And in that position comes certain protocols. If we think it would be absurd for Michelle Obama to just shove Barack out of the way to give Barack's speech, then, Meghan shoving Harry out of the way constantly, wanting to be the one, like, I honestly don't know. I don't know what message they were trying to send. I didn't receive it. Maybe you guys received it. But even if we were to bring it home to our workplaces, like, how do we sign off on our emails? If we're so feminist, we shouldn't be professional at work. We should fight the patriarchy because a computer was created by a man. Like, it can really go that far. There's a lot more that I could say, but I'm looking at this audio and it's starting to look rather lengthy. So I'm going to conclude here by answering the question, can Meghan Markle be the next Michelle Obama? My answer is no. Public service is not something to aspire to for the sake of fame or credit. It is a real desire to help people. And in some situations, the byproduct of really helping people, the byproduct of true public service is fame. And true public servants are not looking for fame. They don't want it. It just so happens that their good work or their good deeds bring notoriety. Another reason why I don't think Meghan is cut out for the political space is because I don't think she has the emotional fortitude. I mean, if she cries over bridesmaid dresses, lip gloss squabbles, tabloids printing things that she says aren't true, I'm not sure she's ready for political fire because the political scene is brutal. Like, your opponents dig deep into your past and ancestry because they want to win. Like, it's a fight to the top. It's a race to the top. And it wouldn't be tabloids reporting fake news. It would be research journalists, acclaimed research journalists with credible sources who aren't afraid to call you out publicly. And I just don't see, like, with what Harry himself has reported about his wife in his book, I just don't see how she would have the emotional fortitude for a space like that. She'll probably be on the floor or couch crying every 2 seconds. Remember how Barack was grilled to produce his birth certificate when he was running for office? Do you guys remember that? And I think that's what produced the quote of when they go low, we go high. And some people just don't have it in them to look beyond all of that, to look past drama and just focus on the important things. Some people don't. So I'll leave this off by saying that femininity is an aura of nurture, intuition, and a softness that a man just doesn't have. The same way that there are things about men, there's masculinity that women we just don't have. And if we all just come to appreciate why we're created, why we've been made the way that we are, that it's okay for a man to take the lead in his masculinity, and it's okay for a woman to take the lead in her femininity. That's really what it boils down to. And femininity is not about lipstick, it's not about lip gloss. It is a resilient strength of leadership. The power of nurturing is that it prioritizes making space for the person's experience. It means tending to, caring for, healing, relating, and being able to empathize. Do you know how powerful that is as a woman? Your existence makes space for a person's experience. Your existence brings healing and comfort. Your existence is a safe space. My goodness, wear that proudly, proudly. All right, everybody, I'm going to leave it right here. Thank you all so much for watching. I would really appreciate it if you subscribe, like this video. I would definitely see you in the next one. I hope that this brought some value to your life. Thank you all. Bye.